So I'm sure if you're into the mecha genre at all, you've heard of Gurren Lagann, a fantastic love letter to the genre as a whole, and I'd go as far to say that most people don't really recognize how deep that even goes. But that's a topic for another video. What I'm wanting to go over here in this series is that, did you know Gurren Lagann also had a manga? I searched for some content about it here on YouTube, and yeah, nobody talks about it. So I feel inclined to dive in and see what differences there are to the anime and movies. Now, Gurren Lagann was anime first, but the manga started a couple months through the anime airing. The anime aired from April 1st to September 30th in 2007, with the first movie, Childhood's End, coming out in 2008, and The Light in the Sky Are Stars in 2009. The manga started in June of 2007 and ended in July of 2013, which is kind of wild that it took that long. It was illustrated by Kotaro Mori, who, as far as I could tell, hasn't done much else. It has 10 volumes in total, spanning 65 chapters. The manga has only been English translated up to volume 6, so I'll be going with the fan translation. Also, I did mention the movies, but I won't bother going over them in these videos. Maybe a quick post-series one. I'm not sure how long the series is going to go for, but I'll probably do a compilation at the end. I'll also assume you're going into this having already seen the anime and movies, so I will be briefly summarizing scenes that don't really have any changes, and there will be spoilers. So without further ado, let's get started. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Chapter 1. Head for the Surface. This chapter covers the first half of the first episode. Instead of starting off with that definitely not a Captain Harlock-inspired opening, we see Yoko and crew fighting those 3 gunmen on the surface above Jiha Village. A large explosion knocks the familiar one down towards the village, and Yoko jumps after it. The next scene plays out the same to the anime. Shimon talks about his digging and finds the core drill. The 3 girls make fun of him and run off. Shimon bumps into Kamina, who tells him to keep his head up. For the pigmole plan scene, we actually see the pigmoles in their cage, and Kamina explains that the pigmoles are the chiefs, and the drill is Shimon's, and that's what's going to bust through the roof. When riding the pigmoles, they don't make that weird pigmole tower like in the anime. Instead, the chief is waiting for them at the top of the bridge and stops them there. The chief reprimands them, and the part where Kamina tells the other 3 no-names he doesn't want them calling him Aniki is cut out. The chief uncuffs Shimon, and Kamina tells him to go. The earthquake happens, everyone runs for cover except Kamina. Shimon freaks out, and Kamina comforts him. The next 2 scenes are reversed in the manga. Shimon explains his parents dying when he was 7 and finds Lagann. Then we see Kamina tied up. We don't see Kamina joking about Buta being his emergency food supply though, and instead Shimon pops up right away saying he needs to show him something. Some of the small talk is cut both on the way to Lagann and when they run into the chief. The gunman from the surface then falls through the ceiling. Kamina points to the surface, gives his whole spiel, and confronts the gunman. Before getting smashed, Yoko shows up and shoots the gunman, knocking it over. After Yoko tells them to run, the chapter ends. That's it for chapter 1. Cutting out that iconic opening scene was really the biggest change in this chapter. Everything else was pretty minor. The manga does have these fun bonus 4 coma at the end of each chapter, giving a little bit of additional context, which I will show at the end of each chapter section. For chapter 1, apparently the pigmole escape plan has been in the works for a while, with Kamina rehearsing it, riding around the village on one multiple times while trying to pick up chicks. I love little extra details like this. Next up, chapter 2, Believe in Yourself. This chapter covers the rest of episode 1, and even goes a little bit into episode 2. It starts out with Yoko cocking her sniper after knocking the gunman down. This scene is less mobile here. They stand still while Kamina hits on her, while in the anime they run. The gunman then attempts to smash them, and they get saved by Shimon. Some of the banter was cut while crawling through the tunnels, only including Yoko saying she's from Littner Village, Kamina getting upset that she isn't from the surface, and Yoko mentioning that the thing they're fighting is a gunman. They also cut out the scene where, on the way to Lagann, Yoko tries to shoot the gunman with Kamina messing things up, and instead go directly to Lagann. Some more dialogue was cut here. Yoko asks if it's a gunman. Shimon says that with it, Kamina would be able to take the other gunman out. Kamina says that Shimon found it, so it's his, and gives him the "believe in me who believes in you" speech. Shimon then activates Lagann. These next scenes don't happen in the anime. Instead of going through the tunnels and showing the gunman smashing things up randomly, Lagann comes up through the ground, with the gunman noticing immediately and shooting at them. They avoid the fire and Shimon headbutts the gunman, Yoko getting knocked off in the process. Kamina catches her, telling her to be careful and calling her a pit girl. We then see the chief react to seeing Kamina and Shimon, with Kamina telling the gunman that Lagann won't forgive him. Also, Shimon is the one questioning Lagann's name instead of Yoko. This next scene cuts out a lot of the fight, where instead of them avoiding the gunman's attacks, it reaches out to grab them immediately after Kamina names Lagann. Shimon then closes the shutters and they get grabbed rather than getting caught in its teeth. Shimon turns the core drill, activating Lagann's drills, and they plow into the gunman like normal through to the surface. They arrive up top, open the shutters, and Shimon exclaims how beautiful the scenery is. Yoko introduces herself, as well as Kamina and Shimon. Here, Yoko is more surprised about Buta being between her breasts than in the anime. They then fall back to the surface. Shimon still lands on Yoko, and it's a bit more suggestive and grabby than the anime. From here, episode 1 ends and episode 2 begins. When episode 2 starts, they get attacked immediately and they run, with Shimon trying to dig back into the village. But in the manga, Yoko tries to shoot at them, but she's out of ammo. Then Dayaka and crew show up, shooting and disabling the one gunman like they do in the anime. This cuts out quite a bit of that exchange, where they don't even get back in Lagann when getting attacked. The Beastman bails from his mecha, and the other one grabs him and runs, saying they'll be back. Kamina questions what that thing riding it was. Yoko responds with Beastmen, who are the enemies of humans on the surface, and then Kamina says that he's finally on the surface, thinking of his father. And that's it for Chapter 2. They cut out quite a lot of the action during the fight with the gunman and Jiha and the two on the surface. Another thing the manga does is cut out a lot of the small talk in certain scenes, and usually goes right to the point, which is fair in manga form, I guess. It also leans heavier on the horny with the scenes that have Yoko, but manga typically get away with that kind of thing more. Chapter 2's 4 Coma features Shimon asking Ron why he wears so much clothing, with panels showing Shimon, Kamina, and Yoko not really wearing much on their top. Ron asks Shimon if Shimon would like him to show him in typical Ron fashion. And with that, I'll end the video here. Going forward, I'm going to experiment a bit on how I'm structuring these videos, along with how long I want them to be. How many chapters I go through each video may vary because of this, along with how long certain ones are. In any case, it's been a while since I've uploaded, apologies for that. Real life getting in the way and stuff. With this series of videos, along with some planned live streaming, I hope to go full swing into it again. And, if you haven't seen it, I was featured in D180's recent Mecha Talk video about Demon Bane, helping narrate the video. Check it out if you haven't. It was a good one, and I'm thankful for him reaching out to me. Consider subscribing and supporting the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.